Welcome back. I'm just having a croissant.
Well, I was having a nibble of a croissant.
Nibble of a croissant. Quite right too. It is 8:34. This is Breakfast with Stephen and Annie, TV and your radio. Front pages for you now.
The Times leads on the Education Secretary Nadeem Zahawi's defence of private education, saying there shouldn't be an increase in state admissions.
The Mail has an exclusive with the PM, who's attacked the civil service and their work-from-home culture.
The Guardian covers the ongoing cost of living crisis as food prices rise.
Well, for the Mirror, it's got the Wagatha Christie case between Rebecca Vardy and Colleen Rooney.
And The Sun covers Prince William's visit to award fearless anti-cancer campaigner Deborah James with her damehood.
OK, let's see what Pete Price and Claire Pearsall make of those. Good to see you once again this morning. What's this magazine madness in the Telegraph, Claire?
I mean, this is one of these stories that you can't quite believe has ever happened. There is a little village called Vogue, which is down on the, in Cornwall. Tiny little village, been there for ever and ever.
Spelt in the same way as the magazine.
Spelt in the same way as the magazine, and there's a little pub which uses it's the Star Inn at Vogue. And the magazine empire of Vogue has taken offence to this and has written them a cease and desist letter, saying that it's not good for the magazine's brand to be associated with the pub. Now, it's hysterical that a legal department in a large corporation couldn't do a little bit of research and understand that the Hamlet of Vogue has been in existence since before the magazine was ever thought of.
Yes.
And they have actually backtracked and said, oh, well, looking at it again, we perhaps should not have issued the letter. And, they absolutely shouldn't, but I think everybody now needs to go to the Star Inn at Vogue.
Yeah, and show our support.
Show our support for them. I think they're, they're doing a fantastic job.
I think the local parish council should do a fundraiser and send a cease and desist letter to Vogue magazine.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, and I think perhaps my friend also has a horse called Vogue, so perhaps she should do the same thing. I think we should encourage anybody that has that name to do that. But it is just ridiculous that a large corporation thinks that they can take over.
Simple as that. And stupid corporate thinking.
It is, and nobody actually bothered to research it, which I find gobsmacking in a company that large with a legal department that big.
And also such a classy organisation. It's demeaning.
It is. If you live anywhere near Vogue, and you know that particular pub, we'd love to hear from you. gbviews@gbnews.uk.
Oh, yeah. Imagine living in Vogue.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Where do you live?
I live
Vogue.
in Vogue. Yes. My house is in Vogue. In fact, my kitchen's in Vogue. Oh, yeah, I'd like that. It's worth moving there.
Very nice.
Pete, I'm a bit worried about this. There's going to be half-term holiday chaos.
There is indeed. I've got two stories on it, which is really interesting. Half-term chaos. Airlines are piling on more misery as hard-pressed families are pushing half-term prices are going up. Now, I've just got three examples. British Airways, London to Barcelona, before half-term £65, now gone up to £416. EasyJet, London to Nice, £41.99 was, now £193.99. And Ryanair, London to Nice, was £12.99, now £125.99. Piling it on because they can.
They always do in school holidays, don't they?
A lot of parents will now take their children out at different times and get the fine because it's cheaper to pay the fine than these daft prices.
What I don't understand is why these airlines don't, instead of charging $12.99 for a flight, why don't they charge £30 for the flight and keep it more level? Less of an increase in our...
Well, the problem is they're now piling on all the other prices with it. So for your... I've got a bag. I have an argument every time I go through this bag. It fits in that space, but they have different types of places to put them in. So I don't know where I stand with that. So the same, that story there. So then there's a full page in the Express which says, grab a bargain holiday now before the prices soar. But the problem is, so many people have had trips booked before the pandemic that they're catching up. I mean, I'm sure we all have had stories about, trying to get flights back, but they're saying book in now. But then is this just a ploy to get you to book now because they don't know what they're doing? But I've tried to book a couple of holidays and can't get in. Can't get a date, so you don't know where you stand with it. But as for ripping off the British public, you're right, Stephen. Charge a same price. You know,
a sensible price.
Yeah, you know.
Even if you have to put them up.
Well, you don't put theatre tickets up at half term. You know, you don't, because they're all around.
It's a mean, nasty way to treat families, isn't it?
And they've always done this.
Yeah.
And it is, unfortunately, the law of supply and demand, that it will always go up higher. But I think it is now taken to extremes. And even holidays in the United Kingdom. You look at some popular holiday parks, which are £400 the week before half term and suddenly go up to £1,000.
Yeah.
And you think, well, if you're trying to attract families, don't make it difficult. Because if you attract the family, they're more likely to keep coming back. And surely that's better for your business than just a one-off hit.
Yeah. It's interesting. When I was in the club game, I had a third chair of a club years ago, and I was also a working jock and a comic, and I would get staff saying to me, do I get more money for New Year's Eve? I said, no. Well, why not? Well, because I keep you in a job all year. Why should I put the money up on New Year's Eve? Well, I can get more. Well, I said, leave the job and go. You know, it's great.
Oh, I don't know. No, I see. I would have expected more money on New Year's.
Tell me why. When I keep you in a job for 52 weeks a year.
Well, because New Year's Eve is a very unsociable time to work.
Yeah, but so are the other times you work. But you know.
Worked Christmas Day?
Yeah.
Did you get paid more for Christmas
Double
Day?
time.
Oh, did you? I never.
By the way, I did pay them extra, but I wanted to make that point.
Yeah.
I keep them.
Yeah. No, well, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. No, I got double time for doing Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Okay.
That's how it works.
But there is a good argument. But there is a good argument to say that you work 52 weeks a year. Why should we pay any more?
Yeah,
the same as you said about the flights.
Yeah,
you know, it's that sort of principle.
Well, let's go to people who don't have to worry about money at all, and that's the Wagatha Christie cast.
I'm upset about this story. It's everywhere, and I've watched it because I need to know what they're talking about. I'm delighted to say I'm a friend of Colleen and also Wayne. I was hosting at her 21st birthday party. She is an incredibly private person who has kept herself, how she's kept herself sane, I don't know, but she has. She's kept her dear friends around her for many years, and she's still with the same girls as she was at school with. They are a private couple. How they've kept as much privacy as they have because the press have hounded them since she was a schoolgirl. And I mean, I've never known anyone hounded. And there was a piece about Wayne in a paper. I wouldn't even give them the satisfaction. The most vile piece I've ever read, which has nothing to do with this story. So Colleen didn't want to go to court. She's private. She's now talking about the fact that they split up and she went to her mum's. She's got an amazing relationship with her mum and dad, and she's got an amazing relationship with Wayne. But the pressure's been put on them. I hope she wins. She is private and she tells people because...
I can't remember who's suing who. Is it Rebecca Vardy's
suing? Yeah. She's tried to settle and say, well, let's settle.
Say yesterday she's tried to settle about 5 times.
She wants to settle because she is private, you know, and she was angry that she has been blown up by one of her friends over private things.
What do you reckon, Claire?
I think I've invested far too much of my time watching the court case going on. But I agree, I think this should have been settled. I don't think anybody wins other than lawyers by dragging it through the courts. Their whole lives are now out there for us all to see and pick over. Their WhatsApp conversations. I mean, I wouldn't want my WhatsApp conversations being released to everybody, largely because some of the spelling is a little bit suspect.
Well,
I can't type properly.
Well, that's allowed nowadays, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. People still pick you up on it. And I think we've all done that. We've all picked over what everybody said or what everybody didn't say. And I just think that it's so demeaning to all people in this situation. They should have just sorted this out.
Why couldn't they just see the amount of money that's being wasted and the awful dirty washing that's being laundered?
Stubbornness, it appears.
Why couldn't they settle?
It seems stubbornness, not on Colleen's side. But what I love about Colleen is they adopted a beautiful little girl who was in Clare House at Children's Hospice.
Who did?
Colleen and Wayne?
No, sorry. Colleen's mum and dad. So was her sister. And when she got married, Colleen, she wouldn't get married until her sister, who was very, very poorly, could be at the wedding. She's a gentle soul they spend so much time helping charities. I'm saying it now. They wouldn't say it because they're that private. And that's what's upset me about it. She really is bearing her soul. She doesn't have to.
So most of us who don't know Colin and Wayne like you do, or indeed Rebecca and Jamie Vardy, most of us are revolted by the spectacle that's going on in the libel court at the moment. You're saying Colin and Wayne didn't want that. It's not as revolting as it looks. It's just because of this is what happens in libel trials.
Yeah, and you know, they were private. They had their ups and downs, which they have in their marriage, but they've done it privately. They've not gone to the press. The press have tried to invade into their lives, but they've
gone. They've fed it on a plate now, aren't they? That's the trouble.
They absolutely are. And every day when you see the footage of all of the paparazzi outside, and it goes on not from the case, but then to what they're wearing and how they're looking, and you just sort of think, do we really need to have this kind of scrutiny on a libel case, which really should be private between them all?
Well,
yes, I mean, this is the awfulness of our libel laws in this country, is that all they do is make the lawyers rich and provide a spectacle for us all to just claw at.
And after
I
all,
don't think it's right.
after all, Wayne and Colleen, all they did was fall in love. Two young people that fell in love and wanted a life, but because he was such an unbelievable footballer, that brought him in the spotlight. And then they watched her grow with him, and they've taken every part of her life and put it in the papers. Yeah. That's why it's hard to keep that privacy.
Yeah. Well, so you put a really interesting perspective on that.
You do.
I don't often think about. Look, it's been great to see you both this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm getting married in the morning.
Should have booked you for the entertainment at night.
I host weddings all the time.
Bet you do.
Oh, yes. Matron of honour.